Good afternoon. This is the third of an 8-part series I am working on When You Fast. It's all about fasting. It's for my capstone project for Lincoln Christian University, Masters of Bible and Theology. Problem this week with Satan, not the cockroach. Hmm. Probably would have had more luck with the cockroach than I would have had with Satan. So the first thing he does is on Tuesday, he interrupts my time to pray. So Tuesday evening, I'm tired and I want to get up at 4 to pray. And so I go in and I turn the aircon on. We turn it on, supposed to turn it on from the power box. And then I go ahead and we go through family prayer and whatnot. And then, so I get up to go into the bedroom and go to sleep. It's hot. It's been an hour. It's hot. What's going on here? Why is it so hot? So I went over and put my hand up on the aircon, or the air conditioner, as I say in the United States, and it was just blowing. There wasn't any hot air coming up. Oh man, the air conditioner went, because this air conditioner has been breaking quite a bit, and the owner's been talking about replacing it. And I thought, oh man. So I turned the fan on myself and was laying there trying to go to sleep. And about, let me see, about a few minutes later, my wife comes in and she's playing around with the controller. Says, don't touch that. And so she puts it down, says, okay, and climbs into bed. And the rule is we only turn it on by the power box and not with the controllers, because the controllers, they don't always work. They don't work very well. So I'm laying there about midnight. I thought, I can't sleep. It's just too hot. And you have to have aircon in Cambodia. You're looking at anywhere from 80 to 85 degrees at night. Sometimes it gets a little cooler than that, but not very often. Well, now wintertime's coming, it might get down to 75. So anyhow, so I decide I'm going to go into another room and get some sleep. So I get up and start to leave. My wife starts laughing. I said, what's so funny? And she says, oh, well, I messed with it earlier today, and when I came in to fix it, you told me not to touch it. So, sure enough, it was just the controller that had messed up. And so I laid there for another 2 hours, and it was 2 o'clock when I finally fell asleep. Waking up at 4, I slept right through the alarm clock and slept all the way to 7. So, Satan will come at you at a surprise. Now, I'm not mad at my wife for doing that. It's something that happens. Okay, Wednesday night, tries to tempt with food. Oh, wow. Go figure. This is, this is where we're in about a second week, second week. Yeah, second week. And, you know, this is he's going to attack any way he can to stop you from fasting. And here's my wife once again holding up a piece of candy, and I finally just said, look, it's not cool to tempt me while I'm trying to fast. And she said, oh, it's not. And I said, no, it's not. And so Satan once again used my wife. Now, I don't point a finger at her and say, you were used by Satan. I want to cast Satan out of you. No, I won't do that. I just let it go. Okay, God's design. Now, God had a lot in mind for us. Man is made in the image of God in Genesis 1:27. Let us make man in our image. Now, okay, so we don't exactly know what that is. In America and the modern man, image means picture, but that's not entirely true. image can mean anything, and you know, so your image could be your picture, but it also could be your internal workings on how the man works, how the man thinks, how the man responds to things. So we don't. He's made us in our image, though, in his image. Sorry. Okay, so his image, or when he made us in his image, he made 11 body systems. These systems all control and help the body sustain itself. Each system is dependent or independent on each other, and they're interdependent. Okay, so uh, let's look at some, like the skeletal system and the cardiovascular system. Okay, we know the skeletal system supports the body and protects the body. All right, so the cardiovascular system, cardiovascular system moves blood through the body. Now, a little known thing about skeletal system is that your blood is produced inside of the bones. All right, so the circulatory system then moves the blood back to the bones so it can survive. And so you've got interdependent, but yet each one's doing its own job of the skeletal system supporting and protecting the body, and the cardiovascular system moves blood through the body. Well, let's look at the muscular system. Okay, it moves bones and involuntary muscles with the help of muscles, but those muscles need blood to survive, and so therefore the cardiovascular system moves blood to them also. And so then let's look at the respiratory system. Okay, the respiratory system provides us to breathe. But when we breathe in, the blood picks up the oxygen out of the alveoli, and then it just deposits the carbon monoxide, out. So when we breathe out, it comes out. The digestive system, all right? Yeah, it digests food, but it takes the cardiovascular system for it to be effective. All right, so what happens when you eat something, your blood from your extremities come around your stomach to heat the stomach up to digest the food. So we can see very clearly that each system has its own dependent job, yet they're interdependent on each other. So God really thought this out. It gets even more complex. Cellular level, specialized cells. All right, blood has blood cells. Muscles have muscle cells. Skeletal system has skeletal cells. So it works, the system, God micro, what do you call it? Brings its systems down to a micro level. Well, it even comes further down than that, as there's organisms inside the cell. Each cell has this type of organisms. It has your DNA inside of that, and it helps produce cells and stuff. So God has thought this out very well. God's plan for the human body to sustain itself is amazing, yet there are seen and unseen forces outside continually working to destroy the human body. John 10:10, we've already visited this scripture once before, where we're going to finish out. The thief comes only to steal, kill, and destroy. That's it. The thief comes to kill the body and to kill the soul. And if it can kill the body before the soul finds Jesus, then it is successful. Even if he kills the body after he finds Jesus, he's going to interrupt God's plan for your life and for everybody else's, because whatever you do in life, you touch other people through Jesus. Exodus 20:13. You shall not murder. Okay, so kill. The thief comes to kill. Well, he does it through a disease in other people. Thou shalt not murder. Corinthians or 2 Corinthians 11:3. But I'm afraid that just as Eve was deceived by the Spirit's cunning mind, your minds may somehow be led astray from your sincere, pure devotion to Christ. Interesting there. Satan is cunning. He uses anything he can to keep you from praying, from fasting, from giving and reading your word. Anything he can stop you from growing in Christ, he will do. And he's afraid of fasting. You mix a person fast, they can do things. And we will, and later on in the spiritual aspect of fasting, we'll go through exactly some of the things that fasting can do. How fasting can help the human body or the systems to repair itself. Well, that's an interesting question. How can it do that? To start out, many individuals ask this question: is a fast safe, or can it be harmful to your health? Well, you know what? We're going to talk about that, and we're going to show how it works through the body systems and some of the findings that scientific studies have figured out. Is fasting safe? Good question. It's a valid question, and everybody asks it no matter what. And when you tell somebody you're going to fast, look at their faces. They're like, and then you tell them, oh, I'm going to do a 40-day fast, and they can't believe their ears. I don't suggest doing a 40-day fast right away, but I do know that people, I think it's like 1% of the Christians have done that. But when I tell people that that's what I'm going to do, oh, I could never do that. Yeah, you can. Even when a person's going to fast 1 to 2 to 3 days or 7 days, people are still amazed that you're fasting. And that shouldn't be the case with Christians. It should be a normal pastime. John 10:10. The thief comes only to kill, only to steal, kill, and destroy. I have come that they may have life and have it more full. God doesn't bring bad things to his followers. He just doesn't do it. Matthew 7:11. If you then through you are evil, though you are evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father in heaven give good gifts to those who seek him? You know, this is a very true statement. As a father and a grandfather, I really try to um, bring gifts. And for my wife, yeah, I just give gifts, and I enjoy giving gifts, and it's something I enjoy doing. I like doing it. Uh, so James 1:17, every good and perfect gift is from above and comes down from the Father and heavenly lights, who does not change like shifting shadows. Now, up there it says I am evil. Not really evil, but evil in the faith, in the idea of God. But the thing is every good gift comes from God, and He proclaims. Jesus says, when you fast, He expects us to fast. But why do we fast? It's a good question. Well, we've discussed that before, but now we're going to discuss it on how the physical qualities of fasting can help a person. What science has to say about fasting? Evidence seems to suggest that caloric or calorie restriction can protect against various diseases, including cancer, diabetes, and heart disease. My cursor keeps moving. Fasting has been practiced for millennia, but only recent studies have shed light on its role in adaptive cellular response that reduce oxidation damage and inflammation, optimize energy metabolism, and bolster cellular protection. So fasting up to about, I think, 1100 BC, no, AC, they fasted. Christians fasted. Jesus' disciples fasted. Patriarchs of the Old Testament fasted. But today, in modern society, people aren't fasting. And like I said, people are amazed that I want to fast 40 days. The interesting thing about that is fasting is productive, very productive. Adaptive cellular response to reduce oxidation damage and inflammation, so it can help fix that. Optimize energy metabolism. That means, we'll get into that, but that means going from catabolic state to using ketones instead of glucose, and bolster cellular protection. So if your cells are protected, then disease and other things can't destroy it. Diabetes. Fasting is the most efficient and consistent strategy to decrease insulin levels, and blood glucose levels remain normal. The body begins to switch over to burning fat for energy. So if you're going to fast, you know that your body's going to go through some changes. Long-term study published in the New England Journal of Medicine reveals lessening inflammation, lowering insulin levels, improved wide range of illnesses, asthma, arthritis, and more, detoxifying the body, helping the body to rid itself of damaged cells, which may lower the risk of cancer. Other reported benefits: lowered the cholesterol levels, triglycerides, and LDL cholesterol, and reduces blood pressure. That's pretty significant if it can do all. These are studies that have done this. And so, to answer the question, I'm going to ask you, do you think that fasting's safe? Heart disease. If IF, or intermittent fasting diets, works to limit risk factors for the development of cardiovascular disease, and therefore the occurrence of these diseases. So what it's saying there, the risk factors of heart disease is weight, diabetes, and high blood pressure. If it can limit the risk factors, then it also helps in heart disease. Okay, so after adjusting various factors, researchers discovered the routine fasters had a 45% lower mortality rate than the non-fasters. Okay, and this guy says it's very interesting. It's more profound effect than we anticipated. So they knew something was going to change, but they didn't know it was going to be that much. This is Dr. Benjamin Horn. All right, so he does a follow-up study, a second fast study, which using the same data, but after adjusting various factors, there's no significant difference in heart attack. So people had a heart attack, they had a heart attack, but the routine fasters had a 71% lower rate of developing heart failure than the non-fasters. Let me ask you this. One question is fasting safe? Should a person fast? What are the benefits of fasting? Well, we're answering all of those questions. Cancer. Fasting or fast mimicking diets, it's also intermittent diets, uh, lead to a wide alterations in growth factors and metabolic levels, generating environments that can reduce the capability of cancer cells to adapt and survive. And thus improving the effects of cancer therapies. In addition, fasting or FMDs increase the resistance to chemotherapy in normal cells, not in cancer cells, and promote a regeneration of normal tissue, which could help and prevent detrimental and potentially life-threatening side effects of treatments. But what this basically saying here that the fasting improves the strength of the normal cell, and it makes it stronger. All right, and also by doing so, the normal cells don't get blasted in chemotherapy. When chemotherapy, everything gets incinerated along with the cancer cells. Well, if you have a way to strengthen those so that that doesn't happen, then it does. So fasting will help with cancer. Down below, several case studies involving patients with, I cannot pronounce this, glioblastoma suggest that intermittent fasting can suppress tumor growth and extend survival. Fasting, stage 1, 1 and 2 days, okay? So your first day is always difficult. Not for me, because I'm used to fasting, but if you're just starting out, it's going to be a difficult day. And this is where you just have to use your scriptures and drop your head and forge your way through. You're going to miss eating. You're going to have people asking you out to eat. You're going to have your stomach might growl a little bit in the latter part of the day. And then day 2, even more growling, more missing of eatings, maybe a little dizziness and stuff. But things start to happen about this time. And this is very important to push on through. And remember, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And he designed a fast. So it's a good thing. Okay? Blood glucose and insulin levels drop. So you'll experience an uptick in glycogen, a catabolic hormone that stimulates the breakdown of glycogen, stored glucose, for energy. All right, so that is starting to go down. And toward the end of the phase, you'll likely start depleting your glycogen stores, which means you need access to another fuel source. So you've got your normal food sugars dropping. Okay, what your body feeds off of, but now it needs to have something else. So your body will begin to switch from glucose to ketones, which are formed when there is not enough sugar or glucose to supply the body's fuel. This occurs overnight during dieting and fasting. So this occurs every single night that you're alive, and also if you're not a faster, but a dieting, it also helps there. But it also occurs in fasting. So 1 and 2 days, your body starts to switch. And this is why Satan will try to stop you, because this is a good time for him to come and interrupt your journey. Okay? Scriptures to help a faster during 1 and 2. Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through him who gives me strength. 2 Corinthians 2:10. This is why, for Christ's sake, I delight in weakness, in insults, in hardships, in persecution, in difficulties. For when I am weak, then I am strong. Well, you're going to be weak during these days. And so delight in it. Give praises to God for this. It's an awesome thing that you're about to do. 1 Chronicles 6:11. Look to the Lord in his strength, seek his face always. So, and there's probably a dozen more scriptures that a person can use to get through this period of time. Stages 2, 3 through 7 days. Now this is a time that the changes are really starting to move. The body changes drastically. Most likely all the glycogen stores are depleted, and its main source of energy is now the ketones. It starts to use any fat that is stored on the body, within the body. So when you start fasting, number one, your body switches over from glucose to ketones, and then it starts using body fat. Now there's an interesting thing about this. And they found that researchers found, and I didn't put it in here, that if somebody's fat, it uses body fat. If somebody's skinny, it still uses body fat, and it has the same effect, but the body is able to adjust to the size of the person. So the skinny person isn't going to turn into a skeleton over a 40-day fast. The body only uses what it's needed, and so a skinny person needs less energy than a fat or big person. The first 7 days are the most difficult. Satan will choose to attack you during this time. He did. And, you know, we're not used to fasting. We have a daily routine that we're having to put aside. We're trying to develop new routines of praying and reading. And this attack can come from your loved ones, friends, or work associates. This is not to say they are possessed, but they can be used by him. So just be aware that there will be attacks. And I think it's pretty easy to figure out here. Stage 3, 8 through 15 days into the fast. During this time, your body is in a complete fasting mode. Okay, so all the glycogen is gone. Your ketones are the ones that's giving you energy, and you don't have anything in your stomach. By the way, the growling of your stomach is only the shrinking of your stomach. That doesn't mean you're hungry. Tiredness will go away. Yes, my first 7 days I was exhausted and tired, and it goes away. Thinking and concentration improves dramatically. The healing process begins as your digestive system takes a rest from the common stressors and toxins it endures daily. Your body goes into complete autophagy, where the body parts tend to start eating the stored fat, and this remains in effect until one breaks the fast. Now, it's interesting to note on this is that for me, day 7 is my breakover point. I have read several articles that say people break over in day 3. I never break over in day 3. It's always day 7 for me. And sure enough, this week at day 7, which I think was a Sunday, boom, suddenly I'm not tired. I'm not sleepy. I've got more energy to move about and whatnot. Now, one of the things about fasting over, you won't have the same energy if you're doing a long-term fast like I am that you would have while you're eating. Ketones are not as efficient as glycogen. So I know, I think it was, let me see, today is Tuesday. I went out on Friday and went to some places, and by the time we went to our 4th place, my tuk-tuk driver and myself, I was exhausted, and I came home and went right to bed. So you can't do the same things you were doing when you're normally eating, but you can do. And so if you're working, make sure you have a way to take a break during the time, or to rest, to sit, do something to help you get through the fast. Day 16 and beyond. All right. So if you make it to stage 4, you are at a place most have never gone, and that is so true. Stage 4 is an extension and a completion of the healing and cleansing process that began during your earlier stages. The longer you fast, the more time and opportunity your body has to heal itself and cleanse itself. Fasting, especially beyond the first 7 days, takes steadfast dedication. It does. It can be very hard. I am not kidding you about that. And you may get hit from every angle, and you might think you're dying, but you're not. So be prepared and do what you can to get ready to go. How does this fit in God's plan? Good question. You know, He designed this. He wants us to pray. Jesus says, when you fast, we look back at the patriarchs and times they all fasted. So in God's wisdom, He designed our bodies not only to withstand starvation, but to thrive during it for a short period of time. Our ancestors, the hunter-gatherers, I've read, would go a long time without food. And so God fixed that. He saw this was coming. A fast is a well-preserved starvation program that kicks in our cells into a completely different state when food, particularly glucose levels or sugars, are not around. Yeah, it does that. Psalms 139, 13 through 15. This is a very interesting scripture. For I created you, my innermost beings. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I am thankfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful, and I know that full well. My frame is not hidden from you when I was made in secret place, and when I was woven together in the depths of the earth. Your eyes saw my unformed body, and all the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be. Here's God talking about us, or the psalmist speaking about us, and how He knows, He knew what to do, and we are fearfully and wonderfully made. He knew us in the depths of the earth. He knew us in our mother's womb. He knows every hair on our head. So He's taking care of us, and He's wanting us to fast. He's made a plan. The plan is that starvation or fasting does not harm us, but instead does the exact opposite that Satan wants you to believe, that it protects us, it builds us up, it gives us stores, it does all the physical things that everybody tells you it can't do. So you have a good day. Autobiography? Yeah, whatever. And the continued. So see you next week on number 4. Thanks a lot.